Good evening and hola. Of course, hola to everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome to this Google Digital Garage session. Really looking forward to delivering, get started with analytics for you this evening. It is a pleasure to be here again. I can already see a few familiar names going into the chat function on YouTube. I've been around for a number of the last sessions, so it's really good to see you again, and a jolly good evening to you all. So please do get involved in the chat, which I'll come to in a moment. So my name is Glenn, for those of us that haven't met as of yet, and I'm a trainer for Google's free skills training program, Google Digital Garage. I'm an experienced digital skills trainer with a fairly big background, I think, in management and consultancy, helping businesses to identify opportunities to grow, to keep up with the tech trends, to ensure that they are well placed in the market to thrive. And that's why we're here for you today as part of this last sequence of webinars that we've been running. There's been a number so far. I think there's a couple more to go. And we really, really do hope that you're enjoying them, because we're certainly enjoying the partnership that we're running. I absolutely love these sessions because everyone gets so involved in the chat. And that's something that I'm going to ask you to do again this evening. I'm going to introduce Emma. Emma is, as you can probably see already in the chat, our moderator for this evening. She's a fantastic Google Digital Garage trainer herself, extremely knowledgeable, and for your added pleasure, she is extremely knowledgeable with Google Analytics. So there you go. There's a big bonus for you this evening too. So please do keep Emma busy. It's good, idle hands, all that sort of thing. So please do keep Emma busy. You'll see Emma. She's got Emma, and then there's a little blue spanner or wrench by the side of her name. So interact with her, say hello. I can see quite a few hellos going in. Adrian Varela, hi Glenn and Emma, hello to you. Old Mosma, hi everyone, and a good evening to you as well. And Sarah Heiner, hi, and hi to you too. Good evening. Ikra, hello. Hello everybody that is joining us for this session this evening. So please do get settled in. Please do grab yourself a pen and a piece of paper, or the note-taking device of your choice. If you're on multiple monitors, maybe there's a document up on one of your other monitors, that sort of thing. Depends on your tech setup. There's a fair amount of information to run through, some useful guides that we're going to be looking at today to really help you understand, I suppose, the effect and the importance of data that can have on your marketing efforts overall, and what you can do to really get ahead by not making assumptions. Data helps you to make fewer assumptions about your audience, about behaviors as you work through, and we're going to be covering that in some detail. So if you're having any trouble at the moment just viewing or hearing me, then please do refresh your web page. That should sort most things out. It's that age-old adage of if it goes wrong, shut it down, open it up again, and it should be fine. We will be pausing throughout the session to answer some of your questions. Now, Emma is going to be answering most of your questions as we work through, but there might be some that might be relevant to the wider audience. So we'll have some pause for questions, and I can run through those and perhaps give you another shout out when we reach those particular stages. So don't be shy, and please do get involved. Okay, I think that's pretty much everything that we need to cover before we do actually get started. So let's get started on answering questions with data, which is really what analytics is all about. So what we're going to be covering for you this evening, well, you can see on the screen that we've broken the session down again into 3 distinct sections. On section 1, in the first area we'll be covering, we want to ask the right questions, and that's so key. That's really the backbone, I think, of analytics and the data that you get. We want to help our businesses to grow. We need to understand what we want to find out and understand. So asking the right questions so that we can find the right data is absolutely key. Secondly, we're going to then look at which tools we can use to find that data, to use that data, to sieve that data, to slice that data, and to make use of all of that data that's been flowing through, which is essentially business intelligence at your fingertips. And then lastly, we're going to be looking at using the data from Google Analytics with a couple of practical examples. And again, I'll ask a few questions in the chat as we go, just to keep you on your toes. I will ask a question right at this point, actually, is how many of you are actually using analytics at this stage? Are you brand new? Are you already got some awareness, some understanding? Are you already using it to help you make business decisions? Let us know in the chat. It would be really interesting to see kind of where we all fall. Again, this is a community experience. I'm sure that if you've been on the last sessions before, you can see the power of everyone sharing their experiences and really learning from each other, because I think it's good to know that you're in the same place as many other people. I think it's great. And I think that's why these sessions work so well. So I can see from Adrian Varela, very little need this session. Okay, fine. Absolutely. Again, just drop in your answers for us. So, what we're trying to achieve, what questions do we need to answer, which reports are going to help us find the right answers, and what are our next steps as a result. That's what we're going to be looking at this evening. So before we do that, now there is a mentoring service available. I think it's running for HOLA at the end of the overall webinar sessions, the series of 9 that you'll be getting via your HOLA account and hub. But there is also this service available if you're in the UK. So g.co/UK mentoring. There could well be questions that you have as a result of this session. So therefore, why not sign up for one of these sessions to help you get ahead? Ask the individual questions that are relevant to you and to your business. Get an hour with a digital expert. Myself and Emma are part of the mentoring service. It's been running for a little bit of time now. We've done a lot of sessions and get some amazing results come out at the end of it. It's really, really a great resource and something to really, really bear in mind, I think, if you have those burning questions. Sign up for a session. What have you got to lose? And the answer to that is absolutely nothing, but you've got everything to gain. So again, remember that there is an HOLA mentoring service available via the account that you set up when you registered for this set of webinars. Okie dokie, let's have a look then and let's get started. Now we want to answer our data and ask the right questions of our data. So we're going to look at the most important questions we can be asking, and the questions we should be answering, and in particular about how you're doing online, because clearly this is all about how you're doing online. So having a website, linking analytics to your website gives you that grounding. Again, we'll cover a few of those steps as we move on. So this is our 4-step framework at getting answers from data. And that's the key. We're going to be covering the universal analytics, the UA version of analytics, predominantly in this presentation. I'll tell you that now because it does help position us. There is a big change coming to analytics, Google Analytics. It's called GA4, Google Analytics 4. And so there are changes and updates on the way. We are going to share you some links which are going to help you to understand those changes and some of the things that will look different from some of the things we're going to cover. Again, the biggest change, the overall swap over is going to be effective from the middle of 2023, July sometime. So there's still a bit of time to get acquainted with Universal Analytics, with GA4, and make sure that you understand the implications of the changes that are taking place. So back to our overarching 4-step framework. What's my objective? What is it that I'm trying to achieve? What questions do I need to address? What am I looking for? What are my business goals? Where do I get that information from? It's a great question. And then clearly the most important one probably is number 4. What do I do with that information? It's all very well having this bucket of information, but when we empty it and when we sift through it, what are we doing with that information to help us make more effective business decisions? And that's the key to this whole session, using data to make more effective business decisions to help us plan our campaigns, plan our online presence, and make sure that we are going to achieve some type of return on investment. All right, so let's start on number 1. What is my objective? So let's have a look. Now, if you can think of any other objectives that might be relevant to you or someone you know or a comment you've heard, pop it into chat for us as well. So some common objectives, some very well used objectives. Tell more people about my business because we want more people to find us, for us to be there as a relevant source of product or service or information when people are looking for us. Sell more of my product or service. That's going to be a huge one for a great deal of us. We want to sell more of our product or service. How do we do that? How do we make more efficient the processes and the user journey? Identify my most valuable customers. Yes, why is that? Because they're valuable customers. They're not just the casual clickers. They're the ones that engage with us. They're the ones that convert. They're the ones that spend their money. They're the ones that download our guides. They're the ones that click through and do things that are useful for us as business owners. And then number 4, find new ways to engage with previous customers. Again, it's great having customers, but in a very competitive world, we need to retain those customers. We need to keep them interested, keep them stimulated, and keep them coming back to us. So we want to really tie in our online objectives with some of these thoughts. What is it we're trying to achieve? What are our business goals? Please do feel free to drop in some of your business goals and your business objectives into the chat. Again, let's learn from each other. All right, so we've looked at some of the objectives that could be relevant to us, and I'm sure that a number of those are going to be relevant to quite a few of us on this session this afternoon. Okay, so what questions do I need to address? So let's summarize that. In order to get the right data, you've got to frame the questions correctly. Now you'll see on the screen, this is a great screen to take some notes from or to copy, take a photograph of, however you want to do it, however you want to record it, you can. But also remember that the session that you're watching now will remain live on the HOLA portal, the account that you set up, for quite a period of time. I do believe it's up to 6 months. That's my understanding. So please do check that out. So you do have a bit of time to get started, to come back again, to look at sections over and over and do relevant research using some of the fantastic links that Emma is sharing already with you in the chat. Really build your knowledge, really use some of the resources that are there, and I'll cover a few of those for you a bit later on. So in terms of the questions to be asking about our business, on the left-hand side, you can see the words reach, the words engage, the words activate, and the words nurture. They all relate to the funnel on the right-hand side of that page, because we're funneling our customers through. It's a traditional marketing funnel, which is helping us understand each stage of the customer journey. So when we've got reach, who is my target audience? And how do I reach them online? So that's literally reaching out and touching people in an online sense. I want to understand my target audience. I want to identify them. I want to work with them, and I want them to find me. But I want to get more and more and more over time. So that's our reach. Then engage. Once they've actually found me and my high quality website, are they finding what they need? Am I relevant? Am I reflecting myself and my business accurately, so that when they're putting in their search queries into a search engine and they're finding me, am I then providing them with the answers that they need? Because it's all about being the solution to your customers' challenges. You are the solution potentially. So everything needs to be relevant, everything needs to match up. That's the engagement. Are they finding what they need? Then we've got the activate. Are they booking? Are they spending money? Are they downloading that white paper? Are they performing an action that is important to me as that business owner? I think that's really, really important to keep in mind at all times. We want to activate our customers, and the reason they do that is because they find what they need in a way that is quick, a way that is useful, a way that is helpful, and a way that is often quite conclusive to help them answer the question that they have. And then at the end, we've got nurture. Are they coming back? So again, retaining those customers, getting them to come back to you because the service you provide is fantastic. You have unique selling points, those USPs. You're getting people coming back for all of the right reasons. Now, what we've done is we're going to call that the REAN, R-E-A-N framework, the REAN framework. So that's important. We were working through with this example throughout this presentation: reach, engage, activate, nurture, REAN. And again, a really nice screen just to take a couple of notes from. So let's get started and let's have a look at a couple of reach questions. So a couple of very typical reach questions you can see on the screen. How are people finding me online? How are they Are they coming through a search engine? Are they typing my website address directly into their browser? Are they finding me through a Google business profile? Are they finding me through a social media profile? How are people finding me online? Because I need to know, because then I can help to maximize the channels that are most effective. What are my target customers searching for? So what they're looking for, what's going to keep them happy, what is going to be relevant to them. So a couple of really good reach questions to kind of mull over, think about. And again, I'm sure they're going to be applicable to you. So let's have a look at a couple of engage questions. So we've done R, now we're doing E for engage. What are people engaging with once they find me online? So which of my pages are most popular? Which of my pages are perhaps not as popular? What products, services, information, imagery, videos, blogs, what are people engaging with once they find me online? And then which of my online communications are people engaging with the most? What am I doing really, really well that seems to be working for people, for my customers, for my audience? Again, it comes down to that thing of do more of what works and do less of what doesn't. And all of the data that you can find is going to help you make decisions that might mean that you prune pages from your website, you prune content, you move things around, you make decisions to help maximize the customer experience. So that's your E. So we've done the R, the E, now we're going to do the A, which is the activate. So which channels are driving bookings? So not only can we find out from the previous data what channels are pushing people through to my website and that's having them find me, but then which ones of those, so social media or referrals or typing directly into the search bar or ads, if you're paying for perhaps Google ads, that sort of thing, which one of those are actually getting people to spend their money or perform the actions that are important to me, the actions that are helping me to pay rent for my business or helping me to live and feed myself, position it in that way perhaps. And then who is my customer? We want to understand them, we want to know what makes them tick, we want to know a lot about them. We want to build those personas that, again, you will have heard mentioned on a few of the webinars that we've run prior to this one. Okay, so we've done REA. Now we're on N. So that's your nurture questions. Are my customers talking about my business online? You want to know if people are sharing you, your business, and your information. You want to know if people feel like they should, could, and are sharing you and your business. Do my customers buy from me again? So again, that really extremely valuable element of customers that return. We need to retain customers as well as building our new customers. So those nurture questions are things that we can ask and things that can help us understand if we're doing enough to retain the customers that we already have. Okay, now we're going to come through to our first pause for questions. I can see that Emma's been doing quite a lot of work in the chat. That's appreciated. There are no questions yet. That's fine. We do have a couple more opportunities for those. Now, one of the things that I didn't mention earlier on that could be important to you is there are captions available for this webinar. If you click on the caption section of your YouTube screen, if you click on the bit that comes up that says English, that will then translate to you in Spanish, if that's going to be important for your accessibility and to make sure you can get the most out of this webinar. Now, I understand that perhaps they need to refresh themselves a little bit. So I'm just going to stay quiet for a few seconds to help them to do that. So give me a second. And hopefully that will just be enough of a delay of time for those captions just to start up again and get some traction. Okay, so now what I am going to do is move swiftly into the second section of the webinar. Now, this is all about the tools to use. So we've got our REAN, our REAN framework. So now which tools can we use to get answers to those REAN questions, the ones we've just covered, the really important key business-driven questions that we formulated, the ones that we have a burning desire to answer. So let's have a look at that and let's work through some of the tools. So this is the third part of our 4-part framework. Where do we get that information from. Let's have a quick look at things like Google Analytics, at Google Ads, Google Search Console, and some of the social media platforms like YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. You know, all of these, when you have the right account set up, are going to give you this valuable insight-based information to help you make these business decisions. So we're going to run through some of those now. Again, you may well have some familiarity with some of the tools that we're going to be looking at. So please do, again, feel free to come into chat and to let us know what you're using, to let us know what you find as a pro or a con to some of the tools that you are using, some success stories that you've had. Again, all of this input is going to be really, really welcome as we understand the wider world of data. Okay, so the tools that we can use. So we can gain insights from our social media platforms. They tend to have quite conclusive now dashboards that help you understand the data. Some really good examples of platforms that provide you with extensive data could be Facebook and Instagram, because they're obviously linked, owned by the same parent company. Twitter, YouTube's got some fantastic analytics and insights functions. All of the key platforms recognize how important data is to the user to interpret and for them to implement, you know, business plans and strategies and campaigns to help make the most of their online presence. So you will find dashboards on all of the important platforms. Now, you can also use tools like Hootsuite as one example, which pulls together your social analytics across platforms. So there are tools available also that can help you to aggregate your data and to see that data in different ways, as long as you give them the right permissions to do so. Now, you can also check your performance in paid search platforms like Google Ads. Anyone here using Google Ads? Has anyone here linked Google Ads up to their analytics account? Let us know. That'd be really great to know. Organic search tools like Google Search Console, which you will find in Google Analytics, but is also a standalone tool, and Google Business Profile for your more local search needs as well. So you can track every click made on your website using Google Analytics. That's really, really important. All right, so let's have a look at some social media page insights, and again, look at how super handy some of these insights actually are and why. So you can see, as it says there, find out what people are engaging with on your social media and how they're finding you. So that is, again, it has changed a little bit, but there's some data that you can find on the Facebook Insights page. It's got a page summary. You've got a date range. See, that's important to note as well. You have a date range that you can change. So you can analyze on all of your insights different periods of time. Why would you want to do that? Because you can then look at how the performance of your ads, of your campaigns, of your posts, of the blogs that you've written have been over a period of time, or compare periods of time to other periods of time. In business, you'd kind of call that year on year, perhaps, or month on month, whatever's important to you in terms of what you need to know for your business. So let's just have a quick look at that one. So we can see, starting top left in terms of the white section of the page there, might be a bit small, so I'll read them out. Actions on page between June 22nd and June 28th. There were 10 actions taken on the page. So if that's something that you wanted to know was happening, it's right there. And that's an increase of over 400%. So something's working with what you're doing there. The page views have gone up by 45% over the same period. So again, something's working, something's getting more people to your page, perhaps. Now, page likes have gone down by 11%, and that's the only stat that has actually declined. Now, the figures that are being used here are quite small, so that may not be the most significant difference. So always remember to look at the overall figures to understand whether it's a significant change or not. You've got reach. So 5,809 people, this is the middle level, first section. 5,809 people have been reached, and that's an increase of 37%. Post engagements, so people doing something after your post in terms of the clicks, That's up 63%. So again, these all give you some general indications that things are actually working quite well for your page. Videos, video views has gone up 40% to 14. So again, remember, not huge figures, but nonetheless significant because more people are doing what you want them to do. And page followers is up 9%. So more people have decided they want to have more from you as a business via your Facebook page. So this is how you can start to get into the mindset of interpreting some of the data that you see in front of you. And so there is so much data available that you can really cross-reference a lot of it, and there should be an answer to pretty much all of the questions that you have. Now, Google Search Console is a fantastic no-cost tool. It's organic search insights. Organic search is essentially you're not paying for your website or the changes that you're making. You're optimizing internally, called search engine optimization. So it's a no-cost product. It helps you to understand how you're ranking in organic search. So that's when people are typing in their search queries and then you are coming up on a page. You have to think about search engine optimization if you've got a website, because there are some critical factors. We don't know them all. There are so many touch points for Google in terms of what helps decide a ranking. A lot of it is quality based, of course, but if you can perhaps go online, perhaps reference some YouTube videos, there are a lot of people online who are very willing to show you how they optimize their listings to get the best performance from their website. So again, it could be worth, if you want to do extra research and extra learning, to think about routes like that, as well as, of course, taking some courses. Now, Search Console also integrates with Google Analytics so that you can see your Google Search Console data in Analytics too. So that's a nice, handy integration that's available. One of the things that I really, really like about Google Search Console is that because it's connected up to your infrastructure, if Google experiences or a search engine experiences a difficulty in indexing your website and thus reflecting it properly when people are searching for the things that you offer, then you're going to get a notification about that, an alert to help you to fix that problem as quickly as you can. And that's really important too. A nice quick way for you to understand something's not working right. I need to go in and fix it. And where do I start? Because often that's one of our biggest questions. Where do we start? Google Search Console can give you some of that information. Now, Google Business Profile, I've mentioned a couple of times. This is your online presence across Google Search and across Google Maps, and it's very local based. We do have a session, Find Your Customers with Google Maps, available on the Google Digital Garage website. And I'm sure it's part of the sequence of webinars that we've been running for you with the HOLA partnership too. And you can sign up, again, no cost. It gives you an extra web presence, and you have an insights dashboard that's available to you that's going to give you a fair amount of information to help you to understand how you're being found, how many people are clicking on your phone number, the distances, perhaps in some cases, if you've been found on maps, that people are willing to travel. So again, it does really give you some valuable intelligence on your customers and their behaviors. So the next one we're going to be looking at is Google Analytics. And of course, that is the main focus of our session. It's again a no-cost tool. It's the most popular website analytics tool. You also have tools like Adobe Analytics, but again, for this is the most popular website analytics tool that's out there. It will monitor every click on your website. We're going to take a look at Google Analytics, and please again remember that we're looking at the universal analytics functionality at this stage, but there will be updates coming which will help you understand more the Google Analytics 4 functionality that again will be fully introduced by the middle of 2023. So you can see on the screen there is an example of the page. You've got your master view. You can have your real-time information, what people are doing on your website right now with the data that aligns with that. And you can also see on the left-hand side where you do most of your clicking to find the different types of data to answer the types of questions that you want answered, that you're looking for in the report section. So we've got real-time, we've got audience, we've got acquisition, we've got behavior, and we've got conversions. So those we will be covering shortly, but initially now we are going to have a quick pause for questions, and I'm just going to have a look to see if anything's come in. Again, I can see that Emma's been pretty busy in the chat, so thank you very much for keeping Emma busy. Again, keep the questions coming, keep your comments coming. We absolutely love them. So Giovanni Ramirez Jimenez, does Google Analytics have attribution modeling and how it impacts customer behavior and channel performance? Essentially, it's a fairly broad topic, that one, but the answer is yes. Yes, it does indeed. And it can be found in the advertising section of GA4. So again, use some of the links that Emma has been putting in, some of the support links that Emma's been coming in, and you can search on all of these topics individually, and there are support pages and examples for each of them. Megan Ward, is there a way to track your ranking and position changes for keywords in Search Console? And track them ideally? Yeah, I mean, there's a few ways that you can do that. A lot of the people, Giovanni, thank you. That's a pleasure. Megan, yes, there are ways to do that. One of the most popular ways in terms of people that I know, so I'm only really going on personal experience here, is that people are actually exporting data and putting it into spreadsheets and tracking it over time, or just using the date functionality in order to keep track of the changes that are taking place, because it all comes in very useful peaks and troughs. So use it in the most intuitive way for you. And I think actually probably my best answer here is about using the data intuitively for you, because we're not all going to need all of the data in Google Analytics, nor all of the data that in Search Console, but we might need little segments of it. We can extract that data, we can keep a track of it. And I think the more actively we keep track and the more actively we log and do reviews, weekly basis, monthly basis, whatever you feel is appropriate, is going to help you really keep on top of the progress that you're essentially making with your online efforts. So I hope that that does answer your question. And I'm now going to move on to the third section of the webinar. And again, thanks so much, everybody, for your interaction. Let's have a look at using the data from Google Analytics. So we know what it is from this session that we want to ask. We've done that. We know where the data is now as well. So what we have to do now is combine those two things, bring them both together. So we're going to be using Google Analytics as an example, but as I've just said, in terms of what works best for you, it's trying it and finding the most intuitive way that works for you and your mind, and the way that you cogitate, the way that you make decisions. So the same stands here. Use whichever tool is right for your business and whichever channels you're using. So we've seen that you can do these things on social channels, but this now is very much based on websites and apps. So what do we do with the information that we've got? This is our fourth question of our framework. This is what we now need to ponder on, and this is now what we need to start to understand the data, understand what we're looking at, and build a wider understanding of the tool as a whole. So the Google Analytics dashboard, and again, you can change the dashboard so that you may well have seen other examples of this. One of the comments that we often get is that when you open up the dashboard, it can look a little bit overwhelming as there's so much information there. But we're going to look at how we can locate the information to answer some of the business questions that we've been setting ourselves. Analytics does have its own language, but nonetheless, and this is probably one of the top features, I think, of Analytics, is that next to every section, you're going to find in a little circle, a little question mark. So if you're really unsure as to what something means, or how it's relevant, or just, what it's about, then you can actually just hover your mouse over that little tiny question mark that you'll see in each of the sections, and it will give you an outline and an explanation of what that data, what that metric, what that means, so that again you can up your knowledge that way. One of the things I'd recommend doing is going into the Google Analytics demo site. There is a live demo site. You can't break it, you can't affect it, you can't do anything on it that you're not supposed to do. It's there to help you to really kind of play around with the interface and to start to learn and understand how data can be sliced, diced, and interpreted in real time and over historical periods too. So if you want to have a real play and a real practice, go onto the Google Analytics Go onto the Google Analytics demo site. Again, I'm sure Emma probably already has shared a link for that, but again, I'm sure she wouldn't mind popping it in again. Play around on the demo site. You cannot break it. It's fantastic. So you might see the number of visits there. Let's have a look on the screen and just run through a couple of these. The amount of users that you've had to your website, top left, how much revenue those users have brought in over that period of time. You can see, let's try and pick on a couple of the things that you can see reasonably clearly. So this is a real-time dashboard. The amount of active users that are on the site right now, 29. So we can see over particular time periods of the day when most people or more people are coming to our site. You also get some information. You'll see on the top right there, your site performs below average for 1920 by 1080, the HD resolution. So you are going to get some suggestions there too and things to watch out for. So again, giving you that opportunity to really optimize your web pages. Where your traffic is coming in from, your visitors by country. This one might seem obvious, but actually I've spoken to a number of people who have not understood or recognized that a lot of their customers are actually coming from other countries. So they've actually expanded their business to be more internationally accessible, and their revenue has grown as a result of that. They've made their website more internationally accessible because they recognize that they're getting a lot of users in from the States or from India or from Canada, wherever it might be. Now, another useful feature, bottom right of this example on the screen, is when do your users visit? Key times of day that you're getting most traffic through to your site. Again, when are your users online? Maybe that helps you to, if you've got social media sites, for example, to position some campaigns and know when to schedule content to go out, because we know that, for example, things like social media move really, really quickly and that our attention spans are short. So therefore, if we've got a good idea of when our customers are actually online, maybe those offers pop up at those particular times. Maybe those all of the ways that you can be found online, you can make available to your customers at particular times of day. So all part of the overall strategic approach to how you can make the best of your data. So in terms of setting up a Google Analytics account, and again, please go through to the fresh information. This is part of the Google marketing platform. You go to analytics.google.com. You're going to be choosing a name for your account, and you will, as a part of the key information, needs to choose an industry category, and that is going to help you be benchmarked against others who have tagged the same industry category. So it gives you an idea kind of where you are in comparison to other people in the same industry. So make sure you're doing that as accurately as possible. The setup process for UA, Universal Analytics and GA4, is very systematic, very step-by-step. So it gives you the opportunity to really think about what you're putting in and making sure it's as accurate as you can be. Now, this is a really important part. It's all very well signing up for a Google Analytics account, but one of the most important bits of that is that you actually utilize correctly the tracking ID that you have. So again, for this example, for Universal Analytics, you can see that the arrow there is pointing towards the tracking ID, which is UA-545-16992-1. So the way that you access your tracking code in Universal Analytics is you go down, you can see the blue cog on the left-hand side, which is for your settings, which then takes you into your account and admin. And then within admin, you will then see highlighted in red there, the tracking code underneath tracking info. So take your time to get acquainted with the menu system, how it works. Again, it is very intuitive, actually. Indeed, it's made to be as intuitive as it possibly can be. Now, what's the importance of the tracking code? Well, as it says in the box, to track your site's performance, you need to add the correct tracking code to its pages. The tracking code essentially needs to be implanted into every single page on your website. So depending on how your website was built, maybe you've done WordPress or Wix or Squarespace, maybe you've got a developer to do it. However your website has been built, there's going to be an instruction guide within that particular website builder or via your developer, that they're going to help you to understand where that code needs to go. So it's a slightly different process for Squarespace as it is for Wix, as it is for WordPress. But all of these sites understand the absolute importance of you having a tracking code in the right place at the right time, of course, for your website, and they do provide some good information to help you achieve that. So don't be worried about that at all. It's just having that awareness that you do need that tracking code, because when your page is loaded, it's recognized in the URL, the thing that goes into the browser, into the part where you put the search, and when it's loading up, then that's recognized, and that then pushes the data through to your Google Analytics account. So where is it again? It's in the admin section under tracking info, tracking code. So again, go on to the demo account, have a play around, just locate some of these things again for your own peace of mind. So when we install the tracking code, as I mentioned before, if you're using your website builder, there may be a simple field where you can add the tracking ID for your website. Google Analytics, put your code in there. So again, just go through your documentation, go through the help section of the particular website builder that you have used, WordPress, Wix, GoDaddy. There's going to be a guide somewhere. If it's WordPress, then there are plugins or templates that just allow you to enter the unique tracking ID. So it is different depending on what you use. But again, the process has been made to be as simple. Oh, brilliant. There you go. I can see that Emma's put in the Wix instructions. Thank you, Emma. That's fantastic. Okay, this next slide is very good in terms of interpretation. And what do those reports mean on the left-hand side? So again, remembering that we're using the universal analytics interpretation and report section for this presentation right now, then let's have a look. We've got audience. So who are they? Who are the people visiting your website? Of course, that's your audience. So again, nice and systematically underneath that, we've got the acquisition report. How did they find me? Acquisition, where did I acquire this audience from? Where have they come from? What browser are they using? What device are they using? What country are they from? What cities are they coming in from? There's a great deal of data that you can dive into there. Then we've got behavior. So what are they doing? So once they've found me, again, remembering our REAN framework, we're acquiring, we're engaging. So what are they doing? So behavior is at this point saying, what steps are they taking? What pages are they clicking on? What links are they using? What's their insight navigation? What are they clicking on? What are they ignoring? How long are they spending on those pages? How long aren't they spending on those pages? Maybe there's some improvements required there. That again, all of these things you can interpret from behavior. And then conversions, which, for example, in the GA4, the new GA4, is actually called monetization. So conversions are people spending money or performing an event that's important to you on your website. It could be signing up to your newsletter. It could be downloading a white paper, watching a video, whatever event it is that you want to be seen as important, it's important to you as a business, then you can find those. Now, conversions essentially is meaning, what are they worth to me? What is that audience worth to me? What are they spending? What are they doing? Are they worth the investment and time? How can I find my most valuable users? All of those types of questions will start to fall perhaps into those categories. So again, on the left-hand side of Google Analytics, you've got audience, acquisition, behavior, and conversions. So we can then use these reports to really help us answer some questions. Now, to break it down, and something that is important is we've got two different ways of looking at the data. So we've got the dimension and the metrics. So the dimension is the what. So the dimension could be that people are coming in and finding me via organic search or referral, as you can see on the screen, direct, paid search, social, affiliates, or display. So all methods that people can use to end up on your website. Now, in the acquisition report that you can see there, we can see that we have, through organic search, so through the search engine query, we've acquired 7,340 of our 12,919 total users. We can also then see that out of those 7,340, 6,571 of those users are new users. What that also tells us then is that we've got some repeat users potentially in there as well when we look at the sessions, because now we've got 8,050 sessions. So if we've had 7,340 users, then 8,050 sessions, again, thinking about web surfing, web behavior, means that some people have come back more than once. So you can start to make even those types of observations. Those are, fairly high level observations, but again, they really, really help you understand behaviors. When you think about perhaps your search journey and you're looking for something specific, you might visit a number of websites, and then as you whittle down your decision-making process, you may well revisit sites that you visited previously. And on Universal Analytics, these are all broken down into specific things called sessions. Okay. So I hope that that's clear. And then the metrics are the numbers. So the dimension is the what, how they're finding us, organic search referral. The metrics are the numbers. That's your quantitative data, the metrics. This is what we've recorded. This is what's happened. Some great information there. So back to our framework of REAN, using REAN to ask the right questions. So if we remember and take ourselves back to the initial reach questions, how are people finding me online? We've got some data here. So if we want to find out how people are finding me online, then for Universal Analytics, we are going to go into Google Analytics. We're going to go into the acquisition report, which you can see on the left-hand side opened up. The all traffic has been clicked on there, and then the channels report. So channels are the ways that people find you. We can see here that organic search is top of the list. So people typing in their search queries, they're finding you. So maybe your search engine optimization techniques are pretty good to be kept being found that way, or it's the most popular way that you're being found. That could be a possible way to look at that. Referrals are doing well. People direct, so typing you into the browser, your website name into the browser, seems to be doing quite well. And then there's a fair old drop off, perhaps for your social traffic, that social media channels are how they're pushing through people to your website or not. And then we can see right at the bottom that you've got a display campaign, that's 7th, which has gone down to 62 users. Perhaps your display campaign, perhaps you haven't chosen perhaps the best associate website there for your advert to be on. You can start to see if it's worth your time and effort by using these channels. Okay, so if we now look at the data we've just seen from that previous example, we might want to identify, again, keywords, which search terms are driving internal traffic. So back to SEO, which search terms are driving the traffic through, which are helping us to be found? Can we optimize those? Can we add to those? Can we find more combinations of those? Now, we mentioned before as well that the social media element isn't really pushing through but a particularly high amount of traffic. So maybe we're looking to improve the links from our social media platforms. Maybe we need to do a social media audit, and maybe we just need to ensure that we are linking up all of our channels and directing everything through to our website. And then we might want to develop some relationships with our referral websites. You can see here that referrals are doing quite well too. So let's get in touch. Let's see what's working with our referral websites. Let's see if we can actually strengthen that relationship and again, make it a really strong mutual relationship that we can build on. All right, so next we're going to look at some of our engagement questions using our REAN model. So what are people engaging with when they find me online? So another example here. So in order to answer this question, what are people engaging with when they find me online? We go through to the behavior report in Google Analytics. We look at the site content, and then we look at all pages. And then you will see highlighted on the screen in green that the pages that are being clicked on have been shown there. So the home page is the most popular. That shouldn't possibly be a surprise, because that's where mostly we kind of get directed through, or mostly that's the URL we would be providing for people as a starting point. Then we've got things like baskets, so quite a few people are going through to the basket. And as you work down, you will then start to see how many people out of your total visitors are actually clicking on particular pages. Now, you might expect that some of the lower ranking pages should be doing better. So ask yourself the question, why is it that those pages perhaps aren't being clicked on? Are they not working? Is the information on them not as relevant as it could be? This helps us to start to position what work and improvements we can start to make on our website by analyzing that data. So as we can see here, and to elaborate a little bit on what I've just said, learn which pages are not getting any views. Why? Does that mean that they are irrelevant? Does that mean we don't need them? Does that mean that we need to work on them? We can understand that we might need to make a bit more interesting content potentially on those particular pages. If we've got a video on a page and people hang around on that page for longer than it takes to play the video, then maybe they're finding that content interesting. If they leave partway through, what's putting them off? What part of your content are people thinking that's maybe not relevant to me? If we do get lots of traffic to a page but a high bounce rate, that's when people leave your page in a very quick space of time without paying any real attention or making any further clicks on that page. Maybe we're not showing them the information that they want to see when they're reaching that page. We can see if any of our processes need reviewing. If your baskets are being abandoned, for example, you get to the checkout stage and then lots of people are getting there, but they're not actually buying the product in the end. Is there a problem with your checkout page? Is it overcomplicated? Does it need to be simplified? Does it need more fields, less fields? Is it helping the customer to feel safe? So ask yourself those questions and see what you might feel you need to do. Now, when we move through to the activate questions, activation is all about getting people to take the actions that we want them to take. Of course, we can boil that down to probably in most cases, that's a sale. We've sold something. Brilliant. Okay. But if we don't sell, then as I mentioned before, it could be giving us a call. It could be emailing us. It could be downloading a white paper. It could be filling in a contact us now type form. All of the things that you want your users, your audience to actually do. So which channel is driving the most bookings? So again, here's our business question. Which channel is driving the most bookings? We're going to find that in the acquisition report, which we referenced earlier on, under all traffic and then channels. So we can see that our referral channels are doing really, really well. So again, when we think about the question we asked previously about strengthening the relationship with our referral channels, that could be really important to us now, because we've just found out that the referral channels, so other websites, are the ones where people are coming through to us and then buying or performing that important action. So it could be really, really important for us to build on that channel. Now, let's have another look. We've got direct, we've got paid search, affiliates, organic search. So although organic search is actually giving us, from the previous page that you saw, the most visitors overall, it's actually the referral sites that are getting us the most bookings. So it's interesting to kind of compare that data and wonder why. And again, it shows that the referral sites that you're using could be really, really relevant. All right, so here we go. Just to back that up, which referring sites are driving conversions? Because some will be, if you've got a whole list of referring sites, some will be working better than others. Find out why, work out why. For referring sites, bringing good quality traffic, again, it's all about relationships, it's about partnerships, and hopefully that's about mutual benefits as well for both of the websites that are part of that interaction. Then we want to look out for our underperforming referring sites and maybe consider reviewing the partnership. It's all about credibility. Are you on a couple of sites or being referred from a couple of sites that might not be that relevant at all? Again, a lot of the things that you can start to think about. So maybe it is a good case of getting a lot of this information together, sitting down with a glass of water or a cup of tea or a cup of coffee and starting to really look at the implications of the data that you're identifying, because you're really answering some important business questions now, as I hope you can see. You have to, one of the other tips I think here too, in terms of moving ourselves along in this process, is back to what I said very near the beginning. Use YouTube and channels like that in order to see how other people do it. I'm not saying that you take on board everything that everyone says. I'm really, really not. But you can start to, again, if you watch enough, you'll start to build up patterns and trends of what seems to work, perhaps for people in your industry, for who are working along the same types of products or services that you are. What questions are they asking? Why are they asking them? What are they doing with the data? And then what decisions are they making as a result of asking those questions? There's a lot of online information to really help you. As I say, don't take it all in, just that everything's fact, but a lot of people have a lot of goodwill, and a lot of people like showing how clever they are. So on that basis, they like to say, well, I saw this data, I interpreted it as this, the steps I made were this, and I increased my revenue by. There's a lot of information online that can help you to understand what you should perhaps be prioritizing or focusing on. So there we go. Are my customers happy to leave a review? We're through to nurture. So we've been through the entire process. Now we're at nurture because we want those customers to come back. So this is one of those custom reports, conversions, e-commerce custom reports, when you're looking at your dashboard and when you're looking at your menu system on the left. That's then going to help you to understand the sales funnel. You can use a series of goals. You can use the sales funnel. There are lots and lots of really customizable elements to Google Analytics, and even more so in Google Analytics 4. I mean, it's completely customizable to help you to visualize what it is that you need to visualize, thus making it even more relevant for you and for your business. So bear all of that in mind. Don't be overawed. Just take it systematically, take it one step at a time, take it one report at a time maybe, and just work to understand the things that are going to end up being important to you. You don't need to be a maestro in Google Analytics to help it help you to make good business decisions. So what can we do with the information we've just seen? Get genuine feedback from people we know have bought our products. Capturing feedback is important. It's that social proof. It's that thing that's not saying, I'm really brilliant and this was really good. It's other people saying, Glenn's really brilliant, and here's the proof of that. Here's the transaction I had. Here's the interaction. Here's the service I had. It was fantastic. We want to know that other people have had a good experience. So feedbacks are critical. Always respond to all reviews, good and bad. Now that's really, really important. As an aside, if I don't make any purchases online now unless I've looked at the reviews, because if a problem has been experienced, and sometimes these things happen, that's life, but it's not the problem, it's the way it's been dealt with. So therefore, if I know that a vendor has dealt with a problem really, really well, they've excelled in their customer service, and they've helped me as a customer or someone else as a customer fix that problem, I'm going to go back to that site and use them again, because we all understand stuff goes wrong every now and again, but we want it to be fixed, and we want it to be fixed quickly and efficiently. And then try different ways to encourage purchasers to leave a review. Again, that could be at your point of sale. That could be on your website. That could be on your social media with a link to a review site. That could be a QR code at your point of sale that people can scan with their smartphones, and it takes them to a web page where they can leave a review. Best advice I think I've got for reviews is catch them early, because once they've left the shop, or if you leave it too long after the purchase, then you're probably going to lose them because they get distracted by other things. So please do bear that in mind. But again, a great way to utilize your data and to start to really get the important parts, the things that are important to your business, maximized as best you can. All right, we've got a couple of minutes to go. Our final pause for questions. Megan Ward, is it easy to switch from the old Google Analytics GA4? Yes, it is. I'm really pleased to say yes, it is. And I can see that Emma's already shared a switching guide and recommended the setup wizard. So if you are changing from Universal Analytics to GA4, Google Analytics 4, then there is a wizard to help you to do that. And the process is being made as easy as it possibly can be. So have a look at that. And again, maybe go online and see how other people are doing it. There are demos of people doing that too. So use all the information that you've got to hand. So your next steps, I think, go on to the demo site, go on to Google Analytics demo site, have a look at it, play around. You can't break it, as I've said. See what you can do, see what the data means, look at the visualizations, look at the countries, the cities, the age ranges, the demographics of all of the people that are visiting this website, and see how that can apply to you. The more you do that, the more comfortable you're going to feel, and I think the more successful you'll be in interpreting the data that you have to hand. And it's a lot of data that you can use to really add to your online visibility, to add to your online experience, and really make it feel like you're achieving something. Remember to use our mentoring service. There may well be something that's come up in here in this session today that you'd like to elaborate on or talk about from your own perspective. Use the mentoring service that's available through HOLA, or use our g.co/UK mentoring service. It'll be a pleasure to see you there and to work through some of these issues with you. And then finally, all that really needs me to say is thank you to Emma. I can see she's worked really, really hard. I can see that you've all worked really, really hard as well in the chat this afternoon. It's been an absolute pleasure to be working with the HOLA partnership once more. I hope you found some real value from this session. I hope it's enabled you to see the utter value of the data that is at no cost to you at your fingertips. And I hope that you start to work to use that. Always go on to the Google Digital Garage website. That's g.co/digital garage. And of course, please leave us some feedback today. gwo.gle/digital garage feedback. And Emma will have, she already has posted that link in the chat for you to do. It only takes a couple of minutes and it's really valuable to us to help us to improve our service. That's all I'm going to say this afternoon. It's been an absolute pleasure again. Hopefully see you again soon on another HOLA partnership, and have a great evening. See you later and goodbye.